So today I'm going to show you how to take advantage of AI, learn those vocabulary words, learn the grammar, learn sentence structure, and learn a lot about the culture along the way. And the best part of all this, it's all free, it's all online. You can do this literally right now. Now you have two main options as of right now, is ChatGPT or you have the X Grok, right? Today I'm going to just be using Grok. So let's go ahead and get over to the Grok side here. And we're going to use this AI to start building up the language. Now, there's different steps to this game. Obviously, you're going to want to personalize your lesson. You're going to want to build your vocabulary. You're going to want to learn the grammar, and on top of the grammar, more of like sentence structure. So you know exactly how you should be talking. We know in English how to talk from A to B. A lot of us don't know what verbs and adjectives are, but we know how to speak correctly, right? So it's good to understand grammar, but it's more important to understand sentence structure. Once you see the pattern, then everything becomes very easy. Then we're going to look at how you can get actual real life conversational topics and subjects and just things to expect to hear and say. And once we get all that done, you're going to be able to learn different culture ideas throughout the program. So you can learn like what is normal, what is not normal when it comes to speaking these languages in these situations. So if you do come out here to Asia and you go to a market, you're going to be ready for a lot of the cultural differences. And finally, I'm going to give you a little side hack, how to turn the AI into a professor, how to have it quiz you and show you what you need to focus on and what you already know. So with that being said, we're going to jump straight into this. I've already written out a few little blurbs that we're going to be putting into the AI. So definitely pause the video if you want to see these and use them for yourself. This is just a basic idea. You can obviously alter this to fit your needs, but I made a generic one for any language. Today's language, we're just going to focus on Spanish. If you want to introduce this into Chinese, Vietnamese, Japanese, Italian, whatever you want, this will work perfectly fine. So the first part is I want to start learning a new language, and I want you to be my tutor. We are just going to focus on the typing of it, so we don't need to focus on speaking and listening. Maybe you want to focus on that. Today, we're just going to focus on the actual grammar, vocabulary, and writing. Now, I want to learn some vocabulary, grammar, sentence structure patterns, which is very important, patterns, and real-time conversations that happen to locals, also some cultural insights along the way. And I am also a very new learner to this language. So we will be starting off with something simple like introductions, then we'll branch out onto other subjects. Are you ready? Pretty simple thing, couple typos, I'm over it. But let's jot this in here, and we should get a pretty straightforward reply is like, okay, cool. What language do you want to learn, right? I want to start learning Spanish. Let's focus on the top 50 words, and these words should be common for introduction talk and local markets. Can you give me these in a list, right? So we're just going to kind of break down a good kind of an idea here. So now you can already see we're getting a bunch of vocabulary. Again, I'm doing this in Spanish today because it's in a Latin language. If I start doing Chinese or Japanese, I'm going to have to translate hiragana to you guys. So we're just going to do basics. So you have hola, adios, por favor, gracias, de nada, buenos dias, right? We have all these different words. These are all basic introductions. If we keep going down, you have sir, ma'am, you have bye, you have sell. We get down to like different types of foods that we have. We got pan, balasa. So we have all these things, right? So what do you do now? Obviously, right here, you're going to want to kind of focus on these, take notes, write down, whatever you want to do. Once you learn these words, the next one you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start looking at some kind of like grammar and sentence structure, right? So I've memorized a good amount of this. So the next step is, can you give me some basic sentence examples with these words we have looked up in our vocabulary building so I can start to see them in real time and practice my speaking. So we're just going to get it. Now it's going to give us a bunch of sentences, right? So, hola, me llama Ana, right? So, hello, my name is Ana. So you're getting all these sentences. Now you're starting to learn basic introduction, and you're learning stuff relative to the actual market that you're going to. And the reason I say the market, I say this in a lot of my Asian videos where you go traveling, you need to know what happens in a market. You're going to spend more time in markets than anything else, especially out here in Asia. A lot of these vendors, these tourist spots are all going to be relative to like market lingo. So if you learn the market lingo, you're pretty much good to go in a lot of these countries out here. So once you do get all this, you kind of do your practicing on here. Let's go ahead and try to test ourselves. So we know the vocabulary. We know how to use these sentences, right? So let's do some testing and quizzing to see how I'm doing so far. Can you give me a fill-in-the-blank type of exercise? Let's just do like 2. I don't want to do a lot right now. So it's going to give us like some fill in the blanks kind of a quiz. So we're going to go in here and we're going to get a couple. This is where the AI becomes very cool. It's becoming a tutor. It's teaching you how to learn a language. And I know you could probably go to a lot of these like language apps and they do this as well. That's perfectly fine. The benefit of this is you are tailoring it towards what you need to learn. If you're using a lot of these like Fluios and all these other language apps, you're kind of having to follow their syllabus and their process. And a lot of these don't really get you to the point as fast as you might want. Like things like Pimsleur is more about flirtation and going to hotels and bars, no joke. Things like Fluio kind of goes over the basic grammar at a heavy start. This you're allowing almost instantly. You're creating your own language program. Now you're allowed to start filling these in here. And it's giving you instructions how. So now you're quizzing yourself, right? And it only uses your 50 words. So if you have to kind of refresh, go back, you already have it, right? You've already got your cheat sheet. This is really cool. And I recommend doing this like trivia quizzing stuff like probably like once or twice a day to make sure you're really digging this in. Somebody can learn a language in a couple months. If you go to YouTube and just look at some of these people, they speak 10 or 12 languages at a very conversational level. And they do it in a few months, you know, like this is a shortcut on how to do it. So once you do get all that, you should obviously probably get some real time conversation examples. I see these are easy for me, so I won't answer here, just so it knows what's going on. Next, give me some real life conversations, intersection, using these words we've learned so far. We should be more direct, right? If you're learning like, let's say Vietnamese, for example, or you're learning Thai, there's going to be different dialects for different regions of the country, right? So let's say I should be more general. Let's focus on talks in Mexico City local markets and conversations that are there, right? So we kind of get the local area. And again, this is the benefit. You're really digging into what it is. So now you're getting hola mi llamo de cuánto por la fruta. Like, hello, my name is blah. How much for the fruit? These are it. Here's your dialogue. And I will give you kind of a cool little hack. One of the best ways I've learned languages, I've learned Japanese, I've learned Spanish, and I've learned Vietnamese. Reading is a masterful way to learn a language. So when you're reading a lot of Spanish or Vietnamese, you're going to start picking it up. But this gives you a good setup on what normal conversations are being had in these countries. So you have them there. And just a final thing, I think this is a really cool thing to kind of get into. What this is going to do is give you like cultural insights. So just kind of things that you want to know, like things that you should do within a country, like processes they do or orders they do things, stuff like that. So to have like an insight of their culture is a good thing to do. It's something like this in Mexico City. It's a very vibrant and loud atmosphere. So when you get there, don't expect things to be quiet, right? And then it starts giving you like different words that kind of step out of your 50, but they give you words to use for these situations. Hopefully this gives you some insight on how to learn a language using the AI. I love these language learning apps. I think they're fun. But for me personally, that's kind of where they become a problem, is they become too fun and they don't benefit me at that point. And I'm doing it for a score. I'm doing it for the entertainment. I'm not doing it to be effective. This is probably one of the fastest ways to learn a language. It's giving you reading, it's writing. If you use GPT, you got speaking and listening. You're getting grammar. You're getting conversational grammar. You're getting vocabulary that actually matters. You're creating your own syllabus. And once you finish this, bookmark it. Use it. Come back to it. Reuse it over and over and over until you finalize the language. And you're out there in the real world just speaking and learning as you go, which is the most intended way to do this. So hopefully that gives you an insight on how to get a new language down as fast as possible. You have to learn the first 50 words and how to use this stuff in a market. This is a mandatory thing. If you don't do this, you're going to suffer when you get out to these countries, because communication is the number one thing. You can't run around writing and pointing at stuff forever. There's going to be a point when you have to learn the language. So thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this type of content, definitely let me know below in the comments and subscribe. If you are coming out here to Vietnam or Thailand, check out these playlists where I just walk all over the place. I show you a bunch of the hacks, how to live out here, what to expect. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching. I will see you again.